So just watching Ben Simmons this season, man, it's hard not to judge him. You know, I was looking at his numbers and seeing the 6.6 points a game. I was like, man. And then the 0-point performance and him trying to explain what happened. And it's like, and then finally watching him play, I said, man, he is so bad this season that this must be historic. And so I started doing research to see if I was right. Because I'm like, no, I'm probably being too hard on Ben Simmons, man. He can't be that bad. We know that he's gotten worse since his 76er days, but I said there's no way that this is historic, right? Surely there have been many other players of his caliber that have experienced the same downfall this early in their careers. And what I found was astonishing. So take a look at this list here. In order, these are the 25 lowest point per game scorers to be drafted at #1 overall. And on this list, you'll notice some all-time NBA busts, including Anthony Bennett and Kwame Brown and Greg Oden, who in my opinion is one of the biggest what-if stories in the NBA other than Derrick Rose. And then you got Markelle Fultz, Kenyon Martin, legendary big man and NBA champion Andrew Bogut, and a bunch of guys that played way before the three-point line was invented. If you take a look at this, you'll notice that just because these players didn't average many points per game, it doesn't necessarily mean that they were all bad. Now, I don't know about Michael Oliver Candy, but if you take a look at, let's say, Hot Rod Hundley, now just judging by this list, he seems like an average player. He was only averaging 8.4 points a game, and he was a #1 overall pick. But this was in 1957, so I'm sure that his role as a point guard in 1957 to 1963 on the Lakers, before they were even playing in Los Angeles, was very different to that of a point guard drafted in the 21st century. Now, other than Anthony Bennett, the more recent players that you'll see on here is Markelle Fultz and Kenyon Martin. Now, I know that Kenyon was drafted all the way back in 2000, and him at about 12 points a game. Now, as the #1 overall pick, that is kind of low. But one big difference between Kenyon Martin, Markelle Fultz, and Ben Simmons is Kenyon and Markelle both got better as their seasons went on, not worse. In fact, at the beginning of Kenyon Martin's career, he was almost the rookie of the year his first season, and he continued to get better until his career was completely sidelined by knee injuries. In fact, he is considered the first player to ever come back from microfracture surgeries to both of his knees. And we all know about Markelle Fultz, but Ben Simmons has only gotten worse since the year he was drafted. And making $35 million a year right now, he's currently making more money than guys like Andrew Wiggins, Devin Booker, Joel Embiid, and James Harden, and many, many more, just to say the least. As far as the most overpaid players in NBA history, Blake Griffin, who in 2021-22 went on to make $32.4 million a year while only averaging 6 points a game. And of course, we got to mention Gordon Hayward, was signed in a $127 million contract just so he could become a role player. For the first couple years of his career, Ben Simmons was able to skate by because everybody was focused on his potential, on what he could be. And today in 2023, all of that focus on his potential has led Ben Simmons to become the most overpaid player in NBA history.